what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, though, is a sad one. Another bodybuilder has passed away today, Douglas Fruchey. He's an IFBB pro. He was born in 1988, so he was only 35 or 36. And this was confirmed by his wife earlier today, this morning. No cause of death, not really any further details on what exactly happened. He was pretty active in recent years. I remember during like the COVID era of live streamed events, the live stream competitions rather, he would be on the competitor list for a lot of those shows. The most recent one being the 2022 Cali Pro, where he was top 10. And you often see him in videos in the background of a lot of people's videos that film at Gold's Gym Venice, like Mike O'Hearn or Mark Bell. Those type of guys, he's typically like somewhere peripherally in the video. But I was familiar with him through his soft white underbelly interview, which was less than a year ago. And that's when I really started to recognize him more when I'd see him in videos, because I watched that soft white underbelly video that had, I believe, like 600,000 views. But being born in 1988, he was really pretty young, in his mid-30s. And like I said, there's no cause of death. There's really been no hinting or anything as to what happened. So there's really no use in speculating, because honestly, we have absolutely no idea. There hasn't even been a suggestion by anybody that knows what happened as far as what happened. But I would recommend, if you haven't seen it, to go and check out his soft white underbelly interview. It talks about basically his whole life story, how he got into bodybuilding, his mental health struggles, stuff like that. Frankly, it was a really good interview, and that's why I watched the whole thing. So I'd recommend you guys checking it out if you guys weren't familiar with Douglas Fruchey. But rest in peace. Very sad story. Always hate to have a video that starts out with a death in the bodybuilding world. Now, next, let's lighten the mood a little bit and talk a little bit more about tomorrow's Empro Classic. So today is Saturday. We are one day out. The Empro Classic will be tomorrow, Sunday, Father's Day. We got updates, a lot of updates from a lot of the guys in this lineup, the first of which being Michal Krizo, posting a most muscular pose today. And again, you know, with Krizo, I haven't really seen a physique update from him yet going into this show where he looks crazy peeled. Obviously, he's in good shape. He's prepping for a show and he's a couple days out. But, you know, I'm looking at this. I don't see crazy deep striations in his chest. I don't see cross striations in his quads. He's got decent separation. If you look at his shoulders, look at the separation in the quads, but it doesn't look like super crisp conditioning. And I think that maybe part of it is he's still a little bit flat here, because you can see he's not as like crazy, freaky vascular as he typically is throughout his shoulders and his chest specifically. Typically, you know, when he's full and he's, you know, loaded up with carbs, he's got crazy vascularity, and you're not really seeing that here. So I'm assuming he's just kind of flat, and that could be the reason for some of this. But that's why this is going to be such an interesting show. Krizo has his own dominant qualities, like the sheer size of Michal Krizo is going to be interesting to watch against some of these guys. But another guy we got a bunch of updates from, William Bonac, posted a one-day out update posing for his coach, Boss of Outlaw, Stefan. And from the back, as always, I mean, he just looks incredible from the back. An incredible amount of detail and density from the back. Just everything pops in those back poses. Separated hamstrings, striated glutes. He looks really good from the back. Now, from the front, I will say, you know, in a lot of these videos, and I'll show you guys another one right after this video. This was from 3 days out, would be when this video was filmed. But from the front, like I said before, I do feel like he looks a little bit downsized here. I think his waist does look smaller, and maybe that was an attempt to bring his waist in smaller. He doesn't seem to have the same fullness that he had earlier in his career. But I think what's impressive to me about Bonac in this stage of his career at 42, with a new coach, these updates, his muscle still has like this fresh muscle look to it. You know, sometimes when bodybuilders get older, especially into their 40s, their muscle starts to have like kind of a weathered look to it. And it doesn't look the same. But with Bonac, while he might look a little bit downsized and not as full, what I notice about him is he still has kind of that fresh, like youthful looking pop to his muscle, which is so impressive at his age that he still has that. And I think this show is going to be a very important test for Bonac because in a way it's kind of a make or break show for him, depending on how he does. I mean, if he gets second and it's close, whatever. But if he's maybe like third or fourth here, which I don't think he will be personally, I think he's probably going to win, then maybe he does consider retiring. I mean, he did take the entire year of 2023 off. He is older. He's got other businesses. He's successful outside of bodybuilding now. And frankly, at 42, I think this is about as good as he could possibly look. I mean, he looks sharp. He looks fresh. He looks healthy. He looks ready. And I feel like we're going to see a really good look for him. But if that look isn't enough to win a show and get to the Olympia, then maybe he does start to consider retirement. But I do think he will win a show and get to the Olympia. And like I said, I think we'll probably see a lot of these guys go from this show to Italy. And then I believe Portugal is coming up next after Italy. And then Dubai is in July. I think you're going to see a lot of these guys go to those other shows. But I think if you see a situation where, like, you've got these guys, Behrooz and Krizo, I mean, if Bonac looks awesome here and he's something like third, then that would be an interesting situation. The reality is Father Time is undefeated, but like I said, for 42, everything I've seen from Bonac for this prep, I think he looks brand new. He looks revamped. He looks fresh. I think this new coaching relationship that he has with Boss of Outlaw is working out really well for him. And like I've talked about before, Stefan has had a lot of success with his clients like Wesley, like Urs, like Martin. He transformed these guys' physiques. And I really think based on what we're seeing here, he did a great job with Bonac. So I'm excited to see him on stage tomorrow. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, speaking of Behrooz, we also got an update from him today. I believe this is the most recent one, this one in the hotel room. Behrooz is looking phenomenal too. I've actually seen more comments probably on Behrouz's post, on post about Krizo, post about Bonac. More comments in the comment section of people predicting that Behrooz is going to win than Bonac or Krizo. A lot of people are really feeling Behrouz's physique and liking how he's looking in these updates. Now, it could be that he's from Iran, so he's got that same sort of rabid fan base that Hadi Chupin has. But I have been noticing on like the Buys and Tries posts, the Bodybuilders Without Borders, the Fitness Vault, like all these bodybuilding Instagram pages that share these updates, a lot of the comments are saying they think Behrooz is going to win. But just from all the updates that I've seen, well, at least what we've seen on Instagram, I think the updates from Bonac have been what have impressed me the most. But we're not going to know for sure until we see them all on stage, and that's the fun part of the competition. They're all these physiques are so different in this lineup. Who knows what's going to happen? But me personally, I like Bonac's updates the best. Those have been the ones that I stop and watch, and I'm like, he really looks good. And like I said earlier, he's just got such a fresh look to his physique. It's kind of surprising. Now, the final update that I've got for you guys today, another guy doing this Empro Classic tomorrow is a guy named Pablo Lopez. We last saw him compete in the Cali Pro, where he did place, and I thought this was a really interesting update. This is one day out, so he's posing next to a classic physique competitor. But one of the things that always jumped out, well, I guess two of the things that always jumped out to me about Pablo, I think you would probably guess. One would be his delts. He's got just insane delts. And when you see him next to this classic physique dude, the size difference in the delts is crazy. But number two, crazy traps on this guy. He's got some really standout body parts, maybe not as balanced as a Bonac or even a Krizo. But he's a really impressive bodybuilder. I'm excited to see how he's going to do in this lineup because I feel like him, Sas Harati, who we talked about yesterday, these guys that are lesser known, they look really impressive going into this show. He really looks good. And maybe, looking at this update, maybe not the deepest separation in the quads. Maybe that's probably going to be a problem. His chest isn't really at the same level as his delts and his traps are. Like, his delts are almost to the point where they overpower body parts like his pecs and his arms. But he's an impressive bodybuilder. He's got an impressive physique. And I think he's probably going to do pretty well here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We got one day out updates from all the top guys in the Empro Classic. Have your guys' predictions changed after anything that you saw today, or do they remain the same? And as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification icon, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Empro Classic on Father's Day. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.